First of all, thank you, Amara and Aruj, for having me over and giving me this opportunity to be standing in front of this brilliant audience. I've been interacting with as much as I could with each one of you, very vibrant, belonging to various backgrounds. हमारी learning बहुत होती है. And thank you all for coming. I got to know that the registrations were full for this time. I'm sure that the topic is very interesting and I hope I can do justice. So a round of applause for you all for getting up Sunday morning and traveling all the way to Pindi thoda dur hai, but kudos to you because you probably want to learn or network and whatnot. Round of applause for yourselves. अभी हम पीछे ही रहेंगे. I'm here to talk about this word, acceptance. Amara offered this opportunity and I was like, okay, I might be able to make sense of this. Like Aruj said in the beginning, that every month a talk has a subject and there could be different connotations, there could be different meanings that you would want to associate with. But when you talk about this word, probably what is the first thing that comes across your mind? Maybe submitting, surrendering, compromising. And you must be wondering, why am I here to preach the fact to submit or to compromise? Why you all have gotten up at probably 9 a.m., 8 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday morning that to travel to learn about acceptance, submission. I'll pause here and I'll let you reflect on your lives now. I believe we as humans are connected on a lot of common denominators. A common denominator of emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, resentment, being upset. Show of hands, how many of you have had a heartbreak? I'll probably raise both hands because when my heart got broken, the pain was excruciating. How many of you did not get that promotion that you wanted? How many of you must have failed a lot of embarrassment moments or insults? See, we have all of this in common. So what to do when life happens to us? This is life, right? Failures is part of life. What to do? Do you think that we have power over the situation? By all means, yes. And this is what I'm here to talk about. Major chunk of life we do not have control over. In those situations, on your left side, this is a situation where you don't have a control over. Something happened, एक गमला था पड़ा हुआ टूट गया, गलती से टूट गया, आपके हाथ से लग के टूट गया, खिड़की के साथ पड़ा था, हवा से लग के टूट गया, लेकिन टूट गया, अब क्या करें? Should we whine about it? Complain about it? We pick up the pieces and move on. We pick up the pieces and probably create something beautiful which is exhibited on your right side. Don't you think that this potted plant looks prettier than the original condition? I find it really beautiful. That's what I'm here to talk about today. I'll be quoting a few examples of my life. Several instances where I accepted reality. 13 years ago, I was living abroad. I was living outside of Pakistan. And I enjoyed a luxurious life. This photo is from a beautiful place in Cape Town, South Africa. My home was there. ये मेरी बेटी है, तस्वीर में 3 साल की, अब माशाल्लाह she's 16 years. 13 years ago, I was facing some of the most painful phases of my life. I had a big house, I had all the luxuries in the world. I drove a BMW. I have a fleet of domestic staff. I wanted to buy whatever I could buy whatever I wanted to buy. Everything was beautiful. Everything was perfect. But it all came to an end. I had to go through a divorce. It was quite painful. It was quite confusing. I had to come back to Pakistan. I hit rock bottom. I didn't know what was happening. I was very confused. Like I said, we all feel pain in one point or the other. It felt like I was hit by a bullet train. I was numb. There were nights I find myself crying. I distinctly remember one night, सर्दियों की रात थी, हीटर के पास में बैठी हुई थी, and I was like, what just happened? Everything was beautiful, glorious. हुआ क्या? वो हमारी देसी मेंटालिटी ना क्या पता नजर लग गई हो. But then something within me sparked. I was like, I have a choice here. हो गया सो हो गया. I can't undo it. I can't go back. I can't undo the situation that I am in. What to do now? Whenever you are faced with a situation or a decision in life, always remember there are multiple options that you can exercise. In this particular instance, there were people suggesting I could get married and move on. I could continue the momentum of sulking in, crying, whining. But us raat ko, when I was, sitting in darkness, I looked at my daughter and I was like, no, she's my responsibility. I'm responsible for another human life. Allah ने मुझे औलाद की नेमत से नवाजा है, मेरी जिम्मेदारी है. So my third choice was to pick myself up, brush off the dust, and forge forward. और यही हुआ. I applied to various organizations. I was very lucky. I landed myself an opportunity in one of the finest organizations. Alhamdulillah, everything was panning out. But interestingly, there was another blow to my pride here. I'm not sure how you might just take that instance. So, with my first job, I had to report to someone who was my class fellow 5 years ago. I was like, मैं तो इससे ज़्यादा like थी, मेरा GPA भी ज़्यादा था, मैं ऐसे report करूँ. There was another blow to my pride. Again, I had a choice of, whining or whatever, and I don't want to report to this guy. But I accepted the situation and I reasoned myself that, look, these 5 years I spent raising a family, traveling the world, enjoying the life, whereas he was kind of working in the corporate sector, and wherever he is justified. मेरा क्या चला जाएगा? उसको मेरे से ज़्यादा पता है, मैं कुछ सीख लूँगी तो क्या पता मेरा फ़ायदा हो जाए. And that's exactly what I did. I was hungry. I was hungry to grow. Whatever opportunity, whatever learning opportunity came my way, I grabbed it. I'm going to pause here and I will narrate another interesting incident that was happening in parallel while I was working with this corporation. Like I said, that when I was married, Alhamdulillah, I had all the richness in the world and I could afford whatever lifestyle I dreamt of. So I discovered a passion, and that passion was that I loved decorating houses. I decorated my house. So I used to go buy whatever. I built a beautiful house. ये एक एग्जाम्पल है मेरे उस घर की नहीं, मेरे आज के घर की जो मैंने खुद डेकोरेट की. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, we'll talk about that journey also. So since I was so much I had a lot of fire to pursue that passion, I didn't have the money to buy nice things, to decorate my then house present in Pakistan. I couldn't afford it, right? So what I did was that I took other people's money and decorated their homes for them for a commission. I got one gig, I got gig number 2, I got gig number 3, और ये पैशन मैंने अपने कॉर्पोरेट जॉब के साथ साथ परसू करना शुरू कर दिया वीकेंड्स पे. What happened next? I put everything together, all the ingredients came together. I put two and two together. Like I said, I was hungry to grow. And I knew for a fact कि डे इन डे आउट कॉर्पोरेट जॉब करके शायद मैं उस स्टेटस तक ना पहुंच सकूं जिसका ख्वाब मैं देख रही हूँ. I had to do something differently. I thought of upskilling myself, probably going for another degree, but I couldn't afford an international degree for that matter. So I thought of applying for a Fulbright. And those of you who must have applied to college, I'm sure here also now so, but then again abroad, उनका जो essay portion होता है, that's quite intense and comprehensive. You have to make sense of what it is, why you're pursuing what you're pursuing, and the reasoning. So all these experiences came into play. I put the interior consultation experience as an entrepreneurial experience, and that went towards putting an application for an MBA in entrepreneurship. I got the Fulbright. My daughter and I went to the States for a couple of years, one of the best times of our lives. We explored different states together, traveled from East Coast to West Coast. This is just me sharing a few beautiful memories that we crafted together. Why am I telling you all this? Like I said, that whatever difficult situation that arises in your life, you always have an option. But there's one very difficult option. और हर difficulty से ही growth होती है. And that is the gist of my talk. You have to persevere. And this is the gist of my talk, where I'm going to talk about growth mindset. One grows when you become uncomfortable. कभी किसी comfort zone से growth नहीं होगी. It is okay to fail. A person with a growth mindset will always view failures as stepping stones. There is always a silver lining to failure. Why? Because a growth mindset does not want to stop learning. You open your mind, you accept that you do not have certain skill set, probably A, B, and C. And if you need skill set A, B, and C to move from point A to point B, accept that you have to upskill yourself. It is okay to fail in the process. And then I'm going to come to my one of the most important, I would like you to go back home with an important word called grit. एक TED talk है बड़ी famous, Angela की, in which she was a management consultant with, I think, Boston Consulting Group, one of the finest consultants in the world. And she decided to quit her job one fine day. She didn't feel that it was fulfilling the purpose, so she went to the public school and taught kids in New York City, public school, and taught them math. There she saw a very interesting pattern. So there were kids who were naturally gifted, probably with higher IQs, and there were kids who didn't have higher IQs. Kids who did not have higher IQs were doing better in math tests, in certain math tests. And she came to the conclusion, then she enrolled herself in a psychological course, and she did an intensive research that success comes to those who persevere, who see life as a marathon, who are not bogged down by small failures. They take those small failures as stepping stones, learn, improve, and move on. Their eye is on the prize at the goal. वो distract नहीं होते, वो focused हैं, वो बहुत disciplined हैं, वो बहुत hard working हैं. This is the example of this gentleman that I want to talk about today, one of my favorite entrepreneurs. I'm sure that all of you know Steve Jobs. हम सबके pockets में iPhone है, इस शख्स की बदौलत. I'm not sure if you know his story or not, but I'm assuming that most of you do. So he created a company and he was ousted from that company. Board of directors ने उसको fire कर दिया, नहीं बन रही थी कुछ decisions पे. He was very rebellious. He used to take risk. Companies risk पे नहीं बनती. Again, long story short, he was fired in 1985 from his own company. This guy did not give up. He went on to create another company. Next के नाम से पिक्सार का नाम आपने सुना होगा. उसने एक एनिमेशन स्टूडियो खरीदा. And eventually, Pixar and Next was bought out by Apple. And in 1997, he became the CEO of Apple again. He only succeeded because he failed. You have to begin to look at your failures as learnings, as stepping stones. If you're not going to give up, you will be successful. तो ये सोचना छोड़ दें कि दूसरा बंदा सक्सेसफुल है क्योंकि उसके पास पैसा था. ही क्वाड्रिपल्ड दैट अमाउंट ऑफ फॉर एग्जांपल मनी, या उसके पास एक्सेस था बाहर जाने का, इंटरनेशनल डिग्री करने का. नहीं, you create your own life. You are the creators of your own life. That can only happen if you accept certain hard realities about yourself, about your life, and go on creating in that direction. When you synthesize your own happiness. एक चीज वो है जो आपको नेचुरली मिल रही है, बहुत अच्छी बात है. जिंदगी आप पर मेहरबान है, बहुत अच्छी बात है. लेकिन एक चीज वो है जो आप सिंथेसाइज करें, यू क्रिएटिंग योर ओन हैप्पीनेस. And that isn't easy. That requires a lot of perseverance. That requires failing, trying again. Fail better. Learn. But in the process, don't forget to be kind. One last exercise that I want to do with you all. So here, in this particular slide, what I want to talk about is that when I started my speech, like around probably 7 to 10 minutes ago, we were thinking that acceptance could be synonymous with submitting. I want you all to go from here today thinking that acceptance, accepting your reality, your situation, good or bad, is synonymous with creating opportunity, perseverance, and having the grit to move on. One last exercise before we part ways. That's okay. जब जब भी मैं वर्ड मुस्कुराऊं कहूंगी, आपने मुस्कुराना है. I saw this on Instagram recently and I really want to recreate this. So let me just see if I don't kind of. So जब भी मैं मुस्कुराऊं कहूंगी, आपने मुस्कुराना है. Can we do a demo first? मुस्कुराओ. I'd like to see your teeth, so please grin. It's a very good exercise. You might as well just feel good about yourselves. मुस्कुराओ. अगर आज कहीं से हार गए हो, किसी को उस जीत की तुमसे ज्यादा जरूरत थी शायद, मुस्कुराओ. अगर कुछ खो गया है, जिसके नसीब का था उसको मिल गया है शायद, मुस्कुराओ. अगर दिल टूट गया है, जैसे मेरा टूटा बहुत बहुत ज्यादा, किसी का जोड़ने के लिए किसी का तोड़ना पड़ता होगा शायद, मुस्कुराओ. जब बार बार सोचकर हलकान हो जाते हो, इससे अच्छा ये हो जाता, इससे अच्छा वो हो जाता, तब ये सोच के मुस्कुराओ, इससे बुरा हो जाता तो क्या होता, मुस्कुराओ. अगर सर पे है छत, बदन पे कपड़ा, थाली में है खाना, और है अगर जरूरत से ज्यादा तो बांट कर खाना, मुस्कुराओ. Even if you have to walk miles and miles and miles, muskurao. Even if your glass is half empty, muskurao. You can always fill it up with smiles. I thank you. Do I stand? Do I keep?
Thank you so much. It was so beautiful, especially the last this entire story. When Madiha shared the first draft, I was like, oh my God, I want to listen it, with the audience, or in few words that I told her, like where a woman of she is, and what you have listened to her story, and you know what it takes to be where she is, mashallah, in terms of her passion, and on top of that, in terms of her, gratitude and perseverance towards life. So thank you so much. Now the floor is open for your Q&A. अगर किसी को कोई सवाल है तो Madiha start the question.
I can see your family. They look just like you. I could spot them. And uncle looks like a judge.
All name. Thank you for sharing your journey. My question is that you got out that pit because you wanted. So, what would you give advice to those who don't want to get out of that pit, who wanted to stay in that their past because that past is so glorious that they cannot rebuild it?
Actually, मुझे समझ नहीं आया बहुत ज़्यादा. Can you give him some other mic? Cause हाँ.
Okay.
अब मैं सुन रही हूँ तो मुझे लग रहा है आप लोगों को समझ आया मैंने क्या कहा, because the voice was so muffled with this mic. Did you understand my talk, right?
Okay, I will repeat.
आप थोड़ा माइक को नीचे पकड़ लें. हाँ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question was that you wanted, you got out that pit because you wanted to. So how would you give advice to those people who don't want to
Who
get
don't want to? बहुत अच्छा सवाल है आपका. आपका नाम? So I'll repeat his question. He said I was able to get out of a miserable situation because I wanted to. What suggestion do I have for somebody who doesn't want to get out? Then it is up to him. The first step, it has to be taken by you no matter what. पहला कदम आप उठाएंगे. I mentor a lot of young people. I mentor startups. I can only, or anybody, for example, if I wasn't getting out of that situation, my mother or maybe somebody else who loved me could have suggested a million things. मैं उनकी बात सुन लूँ, मैं अच्छा कह दूँ, लेकिन जब तक चेंज आप अपने अंदर फील नहीं करेंगे, nobody can help you. The spark has to come from within you. You have to live with yourself day in and day out. The most important person in this world, and there are a lot of youngsters here. I got a chance to talk to a few of you. The most important person in your life has to be you. It may sound selfish, but if you're not going to prioritize yourself, if you are not going to spend time making sure that you are happy, maybe you are happy by being here, you will be unable to have the influence on the people around you. As a mother, मैं ये बात कर रही हूँ. मेरे अंदर वो चेंज इसलिए आया फहद, क्योंकि मैंने उस रात अपनी बेटी को जब देखा तो मैंने कहा कि अल्लाह ताला ने मुझे इसके लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल ठहराया है, ये मेरी जिम्मेदारी है, और अगर मुझे ये जिम्मेदारी खुशउस्लूबी से निभानी है तो आई हैव टू बी ब्रेव फॉर हर. Sometimes you be brave for your loved ones, but always remember the first step you will be taking is for your own self. Please prioritize your own needs first. Only then you can keep others happy around you. Good question. Anybody else? जी.
में बहुत दिन है तो आप हमें कोई स्टार्टअप स्टोरी शेयर कर सकती हैं जो पाकिस्तान में अच्छा काम करे, क्योंकि यूजुअली पाकिस्तानी मार्केट इज नॉट वेरी encouraging. So you worked with a lot of startups. Can you share some that you're really proud of or you like?
जी, thank you. I'm proud of a lot of startups. So I didn't, Amara ने introduction करा दिया था. So I set up an incubation center from scratch. Then I set up a digital accelerator with Telenor, worked there for 5 years, worked for over 700 tech startups. I got an opportunity while I was in the States to work for an incubation work with startups. देखिए स्टार्टअप जो है ना, जब भी आप कोई कंपनी बनाएंगे, प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं, कुछ भी बनाते हैं, किसी नीड से अराइज हो रही है. आप एक एंटरप्रेन्योर का माइंड ऐसा होता है कि वो हर प्रॉब्लम में अपॉर्चुनिटी देखता है, जैसे मैंने स्टीव जॉब्स की बात की, राइट? अगर वो प्रॉब्लम खूबसूरती से वो प्रोडक्ट सॉल्व कर रहा है तो ऐसी बहुत सी एग्जांपल्स हैं. सो मैं ये नहीं कह सकती बिकॉज आई वर्क विद अ लॉट, कोई मेरा फेवरेट नहीं है, लेकिन हाँ इसेंशियल चीज़ ये है कि द कंपनी हैज़ टू मेक सेंस, इट हैज़ टू be able to sustain itself. So I've been mentoring Sehat Kahani for a while. I'm not sure if most of you have heard about it. It's a telehealth consultation. You download the app today. They started at least 6 years ago. डॉक्टर थी वो खुद आगा खान की ग्रेजुएट, और उनको एक प्रॉब्लम नज़र आया जो पाकिस्तान के कल्चर में थोड़ा एम्बेडेड है कि हम अपनी बच्चियों को भेज देते हैं मेडिकल स्कूल्स में, और जब उनकी शादियां हो जाती हैं वो प्रोफेशन अपना परसू नहीं कर पाती फॉर वट एवर रीजन्स. सो शी मेड श्योर दैट सच डॉक्टर्स आर रेंडरिंग कंसल्टेशन सर्विसेज, हेल्थ कंसल्टेशन सर्विसेज फ्रॉम द कंफर्ट ऑफ देयर होम्स. प्रॉब्लम उन्होंने उन डॉक्टर ब्राइड्स का सॉल्व किया, लेकिन माशाल्लाह वो इतना स्केल कर गया कि अब उनकी मिलियन से ज़्यादा डाउनलोड्स हैं. और मुझे बिल्कुल याद नहीं है कि उनकी कितने पैनल डॉक्टर कितने, हाउ मेनी डॉक्टर्स देर आर ऑन द पैनल, बट आई एम श्योर दैट अ लॉट ऑफ अदर male individuals, male doctors have also joined her platform. So I've seen her building her product from scratch. She has been able to sustain herself, and then she's solving a very important problem. कोविड के दिनों में उस पर्टिकुलर ऐप की डाउनलोड बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गई थी. तो अगर किसी ने घर बैठे कंसल्टेशन लेनी है सेहत कहानी की, आप ऐप डाउनलोड करें. बट योर गुड नेम इब्राहिम, देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ गुड स्टार्टअप्स हमारे पाकिस्तान में बहुत अच्छा काम कर रही हैं, और यकीन माने कि बाहर से इन्वेस्टर्स पैसा भेज रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल मरकज़ एक और स्टार्टअप है, आई एम वेरी प्राउड ऑफ बिकॉज दैट वाज क्रिएटेड बाय माय कॉलीग्स एंड फ्रेंड्स, एंड देयर सॉल्विंग प्रॉब्लम्स. फॉर एग्जांपल जो घर पे ख़वातीन बैठी हुई हैं उनको एक रीसेलिंग ऑप्शन अपॉर्चुनिटी वो दे रहे हैं. So just a few examples, we can connect offline and we can talk in detail about it. But we're doing great work, Pakistani startups. जी.
Okay, my name is Bilal Ahmed Khan. I am a blogger and I am a computer science teacher.
Okay.
These days, I am observing that my students in my university, they are facing anxiety and depression.
जी.
चूँकि आपने बताया कि आप mentorship करती हैं, तो इस हवाले से थोड़ा सा बताएं कि actually they are not professionals, they are like students, but they are still facing anxiety and depression. इससे कैसे ओवरकम किया जा सकता है एंजाइटी और डिप्रेशन को स्टूडेंट्स में, जो यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स हैं स्पेशली, उस हवाले से थोड़ा सा
जी बिलाल, आई थिंक दैट्स वेरी ऑन पॉइंट क्वेश्चन एंड आई वांटेड टू मेक इट पार्ट ऑफ माय टॉक, बट आई फेल्ट कि टॉक थोड़ी लंबी हो रही थी, एंड थैंक यू फॉर दैट क्वेश्चन. सवाल इनका ये है, अगर किसी को आवाज़ नहीं आया हो, कि ही इज़ अ टीचर एंड ही इज़ ऑब्जर्विंग दिस एटीट्यूड अमंग्स हिज स्टूडेंट्स, यंग स्टूडेंट्स, जो कि डिप्रेशन और एंग्जाइटी का शिकार हैं. इफ़ आई बी ऑनेस्ट बिलाल, कभी कभी मुझे भी एंग्जाइटी हो जाती है, कभी कभी मैं भी डिप्रेस हो जाती हूँ. जो हमने अभी सिंथेटिक हैप्पीनेस की बात की, ये जो स्लाइड अगर मैं दिखाऊं दैट आई क्रिएटेड इट, दिस डजंट कम इजी. यू हैव टू पुट इन हार्ड वर्क एवरी डे. एवरी डे यू हैव टू गेट अप विद अ माइंड सेट. फहाद ने जो भी बात की, एवरी डे यू हैव टू गेट अप विद अ माइंड सेट that I want to do XYZ, I want to accomplish XYZ, और इस सब को करने का मकसद ये है that I will feel elated. Every day hard work है ये. जब आप अपनी हैप्पीनेस खुद बनाएंगे, खुद सिंथेसाइज करेंगे, वो बहुत आसानी से टूट जाती है if you're going to compare it. So one of the reasons what he quoted was if you're going to compare yourself with, और आजकल की डिजिटल या सोशल मीडिया एज में ये बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है, बिकॉज वी कॉन्स्टेंटली कंपेयरिंग आवरसेल्व्स. वी ओपन लिंक्डइन, किसी को प्रमोशन मिली हुई है, कोई लंदन ऑफिस ट्रांसफ़र हो गया है. वी ओपन इंस्टाग्राम, किसी का बेबी हो गया है, किसी की शादी हो गई है. Subconsciously we are constantly comparing each other, and this is going to kill the happiness that you have synthesized for yourself. और इसका हल क्या है? इसका हल ये है बिलाल, again your students would have to practice this. इसका हल ये है that you compare only with yourself, only with the previous or the prior version of yourself. इसकी analogy मैं इस तरह से देती हूँ. So मेरे कुछ health issues surface हुए थे 2 साल पहले, and I thought that if I have to lead a healthy life, अभी फैसल साहब का सेशन हुआ, that I'm going to go to the gym, try and go to the gym. So it has been a year and a half that I'm a regular going to the gym for 3 times a week. And when you hire a trainer, they make a plan. वो आपसे पूछते हैं आपका गोल क्या है, ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है. हर एक का गोल ऑब्जेक्टिव सेम नहीं होगा. किसी को स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग चाहिए होगी, किसी को कार्डियो चाहिए होगा. वॉट एवर योर ऑब्जेक्टिव इज, डू यू वांट टू गेन मसल मास और डू यू वांट टू बिकम लीन, राइट? आपका ट्रेनर आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव के हिसाब से आपका प्लान बनाता है, आप एक्सरसाइज करते हैं. And I will be stupid if I'm comparing myself with anybody else in the gym, because उस बंदे का मेटाबॉलिज्म, उस बंदे की हार्मोनल इम्बैलेंस है नहीं है, पता नहीं मेरा है या नहीं है. कहने का मकसद है मेरी एक रियलिटी है, मुझे उसे एक्सेप्ट करनी है, अगले बंदे की एक रियलिटी है, उसको एक्सेप्ट करनी है. एंड आई कैन ओनली बी हैप्पियर इफ आई एम कंपेयरिंग माई सेल्फ विद द प्रायर वर्जन. मैंने एक स्लाइड डाली थी, फिर मैंने निकाल दी. सो इस 1.5 साल में डेड लिफ्ट होते हैं. डेड लिफ्ट होते हैं, यू कैरी अ हैवी वेट एंड देन यू बेंड डाउन एंड इट्स योर एक्सरसाइज ऑफ द बैक एंड योर क्वाड्स. फ्रॉम 12 kg, Bilal, in a span of 6 to 7 months, I was able to lift weights of 24 kgs. And counting, I hope so. So I would be putting myself at despair if I'm comparing myself to somebody or even my own trainer. You will kill the happiness, again I repeat, that you've synthesized if you will continue comparing yourself with others. So compare yourself with yourself. देखिए 10 साल पीछे आप किधर थे, अगर तब से लेके अभी तक मूव नहीं हुए हैं, so that is on you. But I'm sure that you've come a long way. Congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back, because you've come a long way. I hope this answers. आप आगे आज you want to come forward?
That was a really beautiful session. I found quite a lot of meaning in what you said. There's a question of mine that you say कि आप अपनी बेटी को देखे you felt some sort of purpose, what I understood from what you said. So a lot of us, I mean, a lot of us, like I can say without asking, that we're lacking purpose in our life. I mean, I think I've sort of found mine, but it's a common problem that we lack purpose. एक वो unfulfilling सी empty सी feeling आती है. No matter how many blessings we have in our life, and unless we don't have a purpose, we won't like feel like we are worthy of anything. So what's your take on this? How does one find their purpose? क्योंकि purpose मिलेगा, आप हालात को भी accept करोगे, you will make your way towards some sort of goal. So what do you say? कि purpose कैसे ढूंढा जाता है life में?
आपका नाम? Thank you, Aisha. So Aisha's question is, how do you find purpose? If you have purpose, then I believe what you mean is that you would feel motivated to bring about the change. Be open to change, मैं ये कहूँगी. You will find your purpose. Maybe right now you're in a comfort zone, I don't know. Meet new people. Try out new things. जैसे आज आप इधर आई, मुझे नहीं पता कि आप क्रिएटिव मॉर्निंग हर मंथ आती हैं या नहीं. Read more. एक्सप्लोर, टेक क्लासेस फॉर एग्जाम्पल. अब तो ऑनलाइन इतनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आ गई हैं. अपने आप को जब तक आप चेंज के लिए ओपन नहीं करेंगे, बाय द वे यू लकी, एक चीज़ होती है ना कि वो बाहर से हिट की है और आपको चेंज करनी है. सो इफ दैट, खुदा ना खास्ता, आई वुड नेवर विश अपॉन एनीबडी द काइंड ऑफ ups and downs that I had to go through. Then you just explore, meet new people, read, and you will find your calling. आपको अगर आप जॉब करती हैं मिसाल के तौर पे, वहाँ पर मुख्तलिफ कोशिश कीजिए कि आपको जॉब रोटेशन मिले. जब आप नए नए तजर्बे आजमाएंगी, एक्सपीरियंस करेंगी, your horizons will broaden. Once your horizon will broaden, I'm sure that you will eventually find your true calling. Thank you for that question. Let me know if you want to put a cap to this. Gigi, I mean, it's up to you. I'm here to answer. By the way, you all can take my LinkedIn and we can always connect offline also after this.
So I just wanted to appreciate सबसे पहले तो आपने
लेकिन मुस्कुरा कोई नहीं रहा था गाइस.
I was smiling throughout. You just said मुस्कुरा के बोला but I was smiling throughout. So my question is कि आपकी story में more inspiring perspective of acceptance, a positive perspective of acceptance. But what if there is a negative side of acceptance as well? अब तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. So you have this negative mindset towards acceptance कि क्योंकि अब कुछ और चारा नहीं बचा तो हम अपनी किस्मत तस्लीम कर लेते हैं, हम अपने साथ हुई जो भी सिचुएशन है उसको तस्लीम कर लेते हैं. How do we shift from a negative perspective of acceptance to a positive, inspiring perspective like yours?
आपका नाम? Thank you आयशा for that question. आयशा, मेरी डिक्शनरी में अनफॉर्चुनेटली फॉर्चुनेटली नेगेटिव का लफ्ज़ नहीं है. एक पर्सपेक्टिव है, एक एक्सपीरियंस है, एक तजर्बा है. इन्होंने एक लफ्ज़ इस्तेमाल किया किस्मत का, एंड आई वॉज एक्सपेक्टिंग दिस. मैंने पूरी कोशिश की थी कि मैं नसीब की बात, किस्मत की बात, फेट की बात अपनी टॉक में ना करूं, बिकॉज एज मुस्लिम्स आई डिड नॉट वांट टू प्रीच एनीथिंग रिलीजियस. हम अक्सर ये चीज़ किस्मत पर डालकर तसल्ली कर लेते हैं या एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं, वॉट एवर. आई एम नॉट श्योर हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव रेड 40 रूल्स ऑफ लव. एलिफ शफक की किताब है, ख़वातीन ने पढ़ी है बहुत ज़्यादा. एक एक्टिविटी ये कीजिएगा, वो किताब ज़रूर पढ़िएगा. इट विल ओपन योर माइंड टू अ लॉट ऑफ स्टफ अबाउट लाइफ. उस 40 रूल्स ऑफ लव फॉर एवरीबडीज पर्सपेक्टिव is based on relationship of Shams and Rumi. Rumi का नाम तो आपने सुना होगा. 29th रूल आयशा ये था, नसीब क्या है? यू नो व्हाट इज किस्मत? किस्मत ये है कि अल्लाह ताला ने सबको एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट दे दिया है. आई डोंट नो, मेरे पास लेट्स से पियानो है, इनके पास गिटार है, इनके पास कोई और फ्लूट है, व्हाटएवर. अब ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट तुम ये समझो कि ये you're born into this. You're born into certain set of social class, a certain set of parents, some things that you cannot change. For example, your biological parents, you can't change. Certain hard realities that you can't change. और आगे कहता है कि अल्लाह ताला ने सबको एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट दे दिया है, उस इंस्ट्रूमेंट को कितनी खूबसूरती से तुम बजाते हो ये तुम पे छोड़ा है. So in my dictionary, like I said, there's nothing negative. It is how you perceive certain situations. If you always want to perceive with a positive lens, you will always look at the brighter side. That's what I can say. I can always help you understand more if you want to quote certain examples from your life offline. We can always talk about it, but there's nothing negative. Like I said, there's no word as failures, there's only learnings. उन तजर्बों से सीखो और बेहतर बनाओ अपनी ज़िंदगी.